Welcome, Thunderbirds, to your new iPad. This is an introduction of the iPad. I know a number of people have iPhones or iPods or may even already have an iPad. This is to get everyone on the same page. First thing you want to do is power this on, and on the top right there is a power button. So if you press and hold the top right button until you see the Apple logo, that will power the iPad on. This iPad actually runs an operating system called iOS. What you'll see in the front screen, you're going to see the home button, which is the most important button in the front that allows you to do multitasking as well as bring you to the home screen. And at the top is a 1.3 megapixel camera. As it comes up, you'll see the lock screen on the front. On the top, you'll see if you're connected to a network. And on the top right, you can see the battery strength. Now I'm going to unlock the iPad. And press and hold and move it to the right. Just swipe to unlock. And you'll see the home screen. On the side of the iPad, you'll see the rocker switch for the volume, and you'll see a mute switch. Now that mute switch can also be used to toggle what's known as a rotation lock. You have to set that in the settings if you want to use it as a rotation lock. Rotation lock means if you're going from portrait to landscape, it'll lock the fact that it's in portrait or landscape. And that's that button if you change it in settings. Now in the back, you're going to see another camera. That camera is a 3.3 megapixel camera used for HD video or pictures. At the top, you're going to see that button that we use for power on off. It's also used for sleep mode. On the right is the headphone jack. It does support the microphone as well, microphone on the iPhone headphones for instance, but it does have a microphone at the top built in as well, so you don't need an extra microphone. Bottom left, you're going to find the speaker grill, and then you're going to see the iPod dock, which is a standard dock that's existed for years. You can use it to sync, backup, or recharge your iPad by plugging it into the wall or a PC or Mac. As I flip it over, what you'll see is the main home screen. And at the top, this is the organization of the main icons that are installed by default. On the bottom, you'll see the dock. You'll also see dots that represent the number of pages. You can have up to 11, and then there's a little icon that represents a magnifying glass. That's Spotlight Search. If I move to the left-hand side, I can do Spotlight Search, and I can type in something like the camera. So if I type in C-A-M, I can see the camera app, which I can start from here. It's a good way to find contacts or apps. I'm also able to go to another page. I can see the dot changes to the next page, and I see apps that are on that next page. What you see here is a configuration of app icons. Now each of these can be moved any way you want. If I press and hold one of the app icons, all the app icons start to wiggle. Then I can pick it up, move it elsewhere, pick up another one, move it elsewhere, and I'm actually able to pick up an icon and put it on top of another, and based on the type of app, it will create a group and name it appropriately. Now you can change the name. If I press in the text area, the keyboard pops up. I can backspace, I can change the name to whatever I want. When I'm done, press done, close the group. The app icons are still wiggling, so are the ones in the dock. On the other page, they're also. Now I can pick off icons from the dock, and I can put other apps back onto the dock. So essentially you can have any configuration you want. Now I'm going to put it back to the way it was. From this point, if you want to stop them from wiggling, you just press the home button and the configuration stays. The next time you sync with iTunes, it'll also save all this configuration. You'll notice you can press the home button on any page. It brings you back to the home screen. A great way to navigate. If you double click on the home button, it brings you to the multitasking bar. The multitasking bar shows me all the running apps, allows me to close them, allows me to switch between them. It's a great way to quickly go between one app and another. Now there's also some special controls if you move to the right, which allow you to adjust brightness. On the left of that is a rotation lock. There's also the volume, and you have a play and pause as well as previous and next track. It's a great way to control whatever the current running music app is. Press and hold any of the apps, it causes them all to wiggle. You'll notice a minus sign at the top left, and if you press it, it closes that application and frees memory. It's a great way to close an application if you need to free memory. If I press the home button again, it brings me back to the home screen. Now there's a case when you actually want to uninstall an app, and you can do that by pressing and holding any of the app icons and cause them to wiggle again. You'll notice some of the apps have an X. Now if you click the X in the top left hand corner, it's going to remove that app. Now there's a number of apps that don't have any X's because they're the default apps and you can't remove them. One of the first things you want to do is connect to a Wi-Fi network. We're going to do this through the Settings app. Find the Settings app on the home screen and open it up by tapping on it. Once you open it up, you'll notice there's a number of settings on the left hand side. That will change depending on which apps you have installed. Pretty much every app puts its settings within this Settings app. Now you'll notice Wi-Fi is the second setting. When you choose Wi-Fi, make sure the Wi-Fi radio is on and you're not in airplane mode. You're going to choose a particular network which is listed that's either at your home or your work or Starbucks or wherever you're working. You're going to choose that network and it'll ask you for the password if there's security on it. Type in the password and it will connect to that network, get you an IP address, and put a check mark next to the network that you're successfully connected. Following that, you can notice the strength in the top left hand side. Now the Settings app is just an application just like any other app. So if you want to be able to move between this app and another app, there's a number of ways to do that. One of the first things you can do is just press the home button on the bottom. That'll bring you back to the home screen. Then you can choose another app to open it. I can go back to that same app by tapping on it. I can double tap on the home and it brings me to the multitasking bar, which I can switch between applications just by choosing the other app. I can double tap again on the home and I can choose the other app and it will switch directly to that. It saves you the step of going to the home screen. Now there's a number of settings that are here, but the bulk of the settings are actually under General. Now if you choose General, you'll see there's a number of things there. I suggest you spend some time going through those so you get a feeling for it. For instance, that's where the lock rotation versus mute switch is. And date and time international settings as well, keyboard settings. One of the things we need to do is configure an Apple ID. You need an Apple ID for App Store purchases or free apps, iTunes, movies and music, Find My iPad, and soon to be iCloud. Now you can find the App Store here, so you can purchase things with that there. You also can use it in FaceTime, but you don't have to. You can use a current email or your global Thunderbird email that you just got. Find the Settings app and open it up by tapping on it. In the Settings app, you're going to find a setting called Mail, Contacts, and Calendars. And in there, you're going to notice there's an already existing account called Subscribe Calendars, and that's the EMBA 21 cohort calendar. That's going to have all your schedule on it. We're going to go and add another account. In this section, we're going to talk about specifically the Mobile Me. So I'm going to click on Add Account, and you'll notice there's different types of accounts you can add. It's pretty easy to add any of your emails. For instance, a Gmail, like your Global Thunderbird, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. But to get an Apple ID, we have to go through Mobile Me. So I'm going to choose Mobile Me. If you have a Mobile Me account, you can put your Apple ID and password in. If you don't, just say Create Free Apple ID, which is on the bottom. So if I choose Create Free Apple ID, it's going to ask you some information and, for instance, where you're located, so it can pick the store that's appropriate for your country, as well as month, day, and year of your birth. And continue on with your name, address, etc. I'm not going to go through the whole settings here, but that's how you create an Apple ID. In addition to that, we're going to show you how to connect to your lifetime T-Bird email. You're going to do that through the Gmail account. Choose Gmail, put in your first name, last name. Now your email address is going to be whatever your first part is at global.t-bird.edu. Type in your password and then choose Submit. It verifies your ID and password and sets up all the email servers for you. Once everything is verified, you're going to see check marks on the right hand side, and that means your account is available for use for email, calendars, and notes. And you can see those three things here. I'll click in the top right, and now I'm able to go to the mail application. So if I'm exit out here, go to the home screen, go to the mail application. That takes a little bit of time where it refreshes and grabs all your mail so you don't see it right away. If I go back to mailbox, choose the inbox, it eventually will populate all the email messages from that account. Now you can add other email accounts the same way. Here I'm choosing an email. All the details about the email application can be learned about from the Apple tutorials on the iPad. You can find a link to that off of the main Thunderbird TLE orientation page. Now here you can compose a message, you can send that message. All the email will work just like you're used to. Now I can go to the calendar as well, and automatically if I click on calendar, I'm going to see the subscribe calendar, plus I'm going to see my new calendar I just added. You can go through the web interface for Gmail and add entries, or you can use this calendar application now to manage your particular calendars. You cannot edit the subscribed one, you can only see the contents. But here you can see you can go from month to month, year to year, day to day, and use the calendar application.